Not only did LIEnette and CROOK get destroyed in Ohio court today, but so did the Levy County Sheriff, particularly McIntyre and Buttchump, Brett Beecham. It was a long day in Ohio court, and George, you spent hours out in the hallway before you were called as a witness.
Yes, I did. I didn't get called in until after lunch break.
Yeah. Well, there was other people as well. It was an intense day. But you know what I think odd? FLEASA pulled a no-show.
She pulled a no-show physically on Zoom, probably because she doesn't want the planet to know what she looks like.
Yeah,
but
she would have to
it's
show
interesting that she was able to broadcast play-by-play on a live stream.
Bonehead. That's going to come up as well. But we should probably start from the beginning.
Okay. Yes, let's start from the beginning. You definitely did not show up in that shirt.
No, I didn't. I should have, but I didn't. I wanted to wear the Cleveland Indians hoodie, but...
That would have offended Deuce.
Yes, his little fifis. So, it was so cold, I drop you off at the courthouse, and then I go find parking.
Yes.
And as I'm coming into the courthouse, LIEnette and CROOK's attorney, Justin, is coming in as well. And he's in front of me in the metal detector with the bailiffs, the deputies, and he asked them, where do I go for civil protection orders? And they guide him the wrong way. So they say, to the left. Well, you and I know that's where you go if you file an order, because we've been there multiple times.
Right. You go there to file the petition.
But the courthouse is up to the right on the second floor. So their attorney doesn't even know where he's going. He doesn't even remember from the last time. And I said, listen, you don't go over there. Just follow me. You're going to get on the elevator. We're going to go to the second floor. I said, do you want me to wait for you? He goes, no, it's okay. I said, I'm just going to wait for you, and I'll take you to exactly where you need to go. Now, I want to be very clear. Their attorney is doing the job that he's hired for. He hasn't done anything unethical.
No.
Hasn't done anything illegal, like Deuce and like all the others.
Stark.
Yeah. So the attorney is just hired to defend. And you're going to find it interesting, his defense, without a doubt, because he has no clue what he's gotten himself into. None.
No, but he's getting paid well.
Yeah, well, he is getting paid well.
Definitely getting paid well. I do have to say, out of all the attorneys that she has acquired, not with her own funds, by the way, he's probably the most polite.
Professional, too.
Yes, very professional.
Yeah, professional.
Dresses very nice.
We can appreciate that.
Yeah.
We can appreciate that. So we do go, and I take him to the courtroom, and then George meets myself and our lawyer as well. And George has to stay outside of the courtroom. Now, this is going to be very heavy, Jeremy, because George isn't allowed in as a witness until she's called as a witness.
Correct. I have to wait in the lobby area until it's my turn to be called in as a witness to testify. And so we arrive at about 8:45.
Yeah, 8:40ish.
Court starts at 9 a.m.
Yeah.
And then at an employee walks her attorney into the courtroom. But you, myself, and our attorney were all in the waiting area. And at 9:02, the judge sticks her head out. She goes, "Are you guys ready?" So then at 9:02, you guys go in.
All right, so I go in, and immediately the judge brings up Zoom, and Deuce is on Zoom. Deuce is there to be a witness, which you would expect anyway. But this guy's in so much trouble, he's literally going to get himself in more trouble on the record. I can't wait, right?
What is he thinking? Why would he even agree to be a witness?
Let's go to what he's wearing. He is wearing a nasty hoodie, a beanie cap. He doesn't look professional at all. As a matter of fact, he looks like a homeless rug addict. And honestly, that's what he looks like. He looks absolutely pathetic. Shara is on Zoom in the back behind the scenes as well, and Shara Wolf is the first witness that is called. And Tina Haley, the individual who is now being sued for selling us the property, the 70 acres, illegally with known encroachments. And there's a dispute on the other property boundary as well. She's being sued for that too. So the judge says, Tina Haley, identify yourself or you're going to be removed. Tina never identifies herself. The judge puts her in the waiting room in the back room, and she is addressed later. And LIEnette pops up and she goes, that's Tina. She's a witness. I'm telling her right now. Now, what do you notice about LIEnette on every court hearing thus far? She's on Zoom on a phone. How's LIEnette telling Tina to identify herself when she's on her phone in Zoom? 2 phones. One is constantly giving updates to FLEASA. FLEASA is talking about this live in Bonehead's chat. This does come up in court, and this is going to even come up further down the road in Ohio court. We'll get there. So from the get-go, LIEnette is on one phone on Zoom, and on another, she's texting and communicating with people. Which, I will state as well, Justin, her attorney, is getting constant text messages as well, and I'm watching him literally read them from, I'm guessing, Deuce.
That would be my guess as well.
Okay, so judge then states, listen, everybody is going to go into the waiting room, and she places everyone into the waiting room. By the way, there's more witnesses. Oh, there is more witnesses, and it's hilarious, and they get wrecked in Ohio court.
Wait, hold on a second. Did Cook identify himself?
No, never.
So he's nowhere to be seen.
Well, he's not the only one, because LIEnette literally gets up and leaves and gets in trouble with the judge. But I'm going to get to that. LIEnette starts talking to somebody. Judge tells her, mute yourself. With authority, with conviction, with loudness. The judge is not having this LIEnette garbage. LIEnette has gold. What do you call this makeup that goes here?
Lizard green.
Okay, was it lizard green?
It's like lizard green eyeshadow.
All right, this whole thing is lizard green. It's sick. She has rings up every single finger on both hands, bracelets down every single arm, and she's wearing her cross. Her cross. Now, that's important. That comes up later in court. So we'll get there. We'll get there. And she looks so gaudy. She's got a black shirt, short black shirt. I've never seen this shirt before. It looks so gaudy, not ready for court at all.
Like emu? What are the kids calling it these days when someone is just like emu? Dark makeup, dark hair, dark clothing, satanic, like demonic. That's her vibe. That's definitely her vibe.
Yeah. Yeah. Judge says, we're on the record. We're here for 4 cases today. I want to do it in one hearing. 4 cases, 2 against LIEnette and 2 against CROOK. 1 for extension of the civil protection orders on both of them. 1 for contempt of courts on both of them. And we're going to do everything in one hearing. Okay? And Eli says, yeah, we're prepped. We're ready to go. 1 hearing, and we will also be submitting for all our legal fees as well. And he states, I have 44 hours in this already times, what does he charge us, 300 something? So 44 hours times 300 and something. That's what LIEnette and CROOK are liable so far. It ain't over yet.
New year, new rates.
So Justin's, her attorney, says, yeah, I've got absolutely no objection to that. Let's consolidate everything. Let's get it all done. And LIEnette then gets up and leaves. Literally, ups and leaves, like this. Okay.
We all know that the woman does not have proper etiquette. She does not have manners. Is it shocking? Does it surprise you?
Should I come back?
At this point, with her, nothing is surprising, right?
Is this a court case? Should I come back? On the record, LIEnette gets up and leaves. And not only that, LIEnette continues to get up, and she's yelled at because she's doing this with her phone the entire time. I'll get to that. So, Eli, our lawyer, who, let me tell you, was on fire. Guy was on fire. I think I witnessed him at his prime today, at the top, at his best. As a matter of fact, even after the hearing, Justin came up to me and he goes, "You got yourself a killer lawyer. He was so good today." And I went, "Yeah, he is really, really good." I'll get back to all that. I'm getting too far in advance. So Eli opens up opening statements and states that everything is just escalated to new heights that nobody could have ever even foreseen this. Now, that's because of LIEnette, that's because of Crook, Deuce creating the anti-what the Hales ecosystem, which is a huge part of this actual hearing. And Judge then interrupts Eli and says to LIEnette, "Sit down! You are in a courtroom." And she goes to then say, "I would say this to anybody who is in my courtroom here right now. You are to remain seated. You are in court." Who has to be told this? So.
Was that a rhetorical question, or can I answer?
It was rhetorical. Rhetorical.
Oh, okay.
LIEnette then goes, "I'm sorry. I have to take care of my daughter." Same thing we always hear, right? Ridiculous. All right.
It's not her daughter.
So Eli is in his opening statements. Justin, LIEnette Crook's lawyer, says, "You know what? I'll just waive. I'll waive my opening statements." Doesn't even want to make them. You know, that's what all that money paid for, right there.
What?
Yep. He waives his opening statements, makes no statements whatsoever.
Really?
Listen, George, here's what you're going to hear, because I know you heard from the second half. All Justin did was regurgitate everything Deuce has said in his made-up YouTube, bad neighbor, fodder for money, the whole deal. That's all he... And the funniest thing is, and we're going to get to it, he had videos from FLEASA. He shows one video, and I go, "Oh, that was real smart. They've already been found guilty for that." He was like, "I think I'm done with videos." But we're going to get there. We're going to get there.
And we knew it was from her because of the way it was labeled.
So I'll get to it, because I call him completely and totally out on it. Eli calls Shara Wolf. Shara Wolf is the very first witness. And I'm going to say this beforehand. Shara was incredible. Shara was on fire. And during cross-examination, the other lawyer's job is to try and frustrate you, is to try and mess you up, is to try and find some crack, some crease, something he can dig in so that they have some kind of defense. Didn't work with Shara. Shara kept him on point, to the facts and to the truth. Shara was amazing.
And for that, we thank her. We thank her for sharing facts. We thank her for sharing truths. Remember, Shara is the investigative journalist that LIEnette begged to cover this story.
Yep. So, Shara doesn't look like a bum like Deuce. But here's the bad thing. Shara sees Deuce beforehand, and Deuce has already abused his relationship with Shara. Threatened upon threatened upon threatened, yells, screams, cusses her out. And that causes some issues. We'll call it post-traumatic stress syndrome. Okay? Now let's just say it's not good. And that's not good for Shara to have to relive that and see Deuce there. And I don't think she should have ever had to see him. One person should have been brought in at this time. Instead, what happened, and that's the way that the judge said she was going to originally do it in the last hearing. But what happened this time is everybody was in the Zoom. And for hours and hours and hours and hours, they waited until they were called upon.
Yeah. No one should ever have to go through witness intimidation, and that's exactly what Deuce did to Shara.
Very much so.
And this is supposed to be an attorney. You should know better.
So Shara goes on to give testimony, and she shares, and I have so many notes. Oh my goodness. So many notes. Shara goes on to share that LIEnette contacted her through Facebook, begging her to investigate this case back in 2023, before the CPOs even existed.
Before the cease and desist even existed.
So Shara shares that while she's investigating this case, as she's collecting all the evidence, all the records, she notices that LIEnette's not telling the truth, and her view of things completely and totally change. And Shara gives evidence of group conversations, talking points for the anti-What the Hales ecosystem, given by Deuce, given by LIEnette, to FLEASA and to others, and all the evidence is right there. So there's group conversations with Bruce Maskin, LIEnette, Patty. Remember Patty, when she got served, she called Randy in Fed 1, or Fed 2, excuse me, and said, I don't know what this is about. Just a little old lady and my Facebook got hacked. I went, Randy, she's lying to you. So the lawsuits will get back around to Patty. She's not out of this by any stretch of the imagination. You've got FLEASA in those group chats as well. And then there's a whole communication period. What's her real name? Lisa Lee, Lisa Weeks, Lisa Rapuzzi. What's her real name? And I clearly state later that, like all of these scammers and con artists, they all go by multiple names so that they can do the next scam. All right.
Multiple aliases.
So there's group conversations feeding information to Lisa Lee to broadcast about Jeremy Hales. And that's Shara's testimony, that she's in group conversation. She gives proof of it, of LIEnette and Crook feeding information to Lisa about Jeremy Hales. And John Crook was even doing it as recently as last night with FLEASA. Lisa Lee says live on her show she's getting information from John. How stupid can you be? But they're going to show us how much dumber they can get. And she goes on to then say that her true concern in this is the safety for myself. And she calls me Mr. Hales during the hearings. So at this point in time, there are two others that enter the Zoom. And we're going to get to George's portion of this. But you got to remember, she was spent hours outside of the courtroom. She's not allowed in. Nobody's allowed in. No information is allowed to be leaked, such as LIEnette leaking information to FLEASA. FLEASA is posting it live in Bonehead's chat. That did come to the attention to the judge, and it's going to be even more attended to in the future in March. Again, I will get to that. Two more enter into the waiting room on Zoom. It's McIntyre, you know, the cake decorator, who should not be in law enforcement. And boy, did Eli put him in his place. And Butt Champ, you know, Brett Beecham, the undersheriff at Levy County. Holy cow, did Eli, you were there for that.
I did get to
Eli
I
destroyed them. Destroyed them. And we will get to that.
I do have to say they both wholeheartedly 100% showed their bias card, and it was fantastic, and that's exactly what we wanted. Federal
court, the Levy County Sheriff is being sued in federal court for violating our civil protection right, or civil rights, by not enforcing the civil protection orders. Oh my goodness, it was golden.
It was handed
to
us like
this. They literally handed it to us. This is going to be the biggest lawsuit in the history of Levy County. It's insane. So, August 2023, there's a Facebook screenshot from John Cook saying if Hales wasn't around, or if Harley wasn't around, I would have shot Jeremy in the face and fed him to the alligator already. And Shara gives testimony, yeah, he sent that to me. And she's then asked, what part is Bruce Maskin in all of these chats? Now, you have to understand, this was a full day of court, so you can't write everything down, even though there is a record. There is a court reporter in there. There will be a full record of everything there. And I made sure there were certain things on the record, such as Lisa Lee paying Justin from donated money, such as, we'll get into some other things as well. So she says that Bruce Maskin wanted her to provide Lisa Lee content, or what he called scoops. In other words, you have to understand their whole storyline, their whole defense is Jeremy Hales and George create YouTube content for money, for views, for likes. Now, here's the reality of it. When we show them 9 times out of 10, because of the things they say and they do, there is no money to be made whatsoever. It's not what you would term advertiser friendly, okay? And so Here they are saying they're doing this for money and likes, and you have Bruce Maskin out there trying to recruit all these freaks, promising money and views. And you have Shara giving testimony that Bruce wants Shara to give content to Lisa Lee, the FLEASA. Their whole defense is, that's what we're doing, except that's what they're doing.
Oh, the hypocrisy is so real with that one. When you said scoops, did you mean scraps?
Something like that. Audio is played. The audio is played of LIEnette saying, I need Jeremy Hale's dead like a dog. Put down like a dead dog. And Shara goes on to share that she has a conversation between her, LIEnette, and Crook, where they are seeking a hitman to kill me. And even goes on as far to state that she contacted Levy County Sheriff and reported it, and they ignored her and gave her no response whatsoever. And Shara goes on to say, I made it public because, and she did, she made it public on YouTube because Levy County Sheriff did absolutely nothing. They didn't call her back, they didn't message her back, they did nothing. They don't care. Let's be very, very clear. Levy County Sheriff would love it if I got shot. Levy County Sheriff would love it if you got shot.
They would love it if any resident of Otter Creek did.
Okay. So Shara goes on to continue to say these are credible threats. These are against Jeremy Hale's safety completely. They call him a cult leader. They call him Charles Manson. As they are a group of felons that continue to threaten Jeremy Hales on a daily basis. She goes on to then say, once she started to share information with us incriminating against LIEnette, that even LIEnette threatened her, Shara, saying, eye for an eye. In other words, she's coming for her, and whatever happens, eye for an eye is going to happen to Shara. Not okay. She mentions paint chips and all the gross sexual innuendos and the horrific things that he has posted. She mentions that Lisa Lee and Bruce Maskin constantly threaten her, scream at her, taunt her, and they are threatening her to a point where she needs civil protection orders. We go on to show the thread of Bruce Maskin saying, I want to destroy this man and his YouTube empire. And Eli says, he sent that to you? And Shara goes, yeah, he sent that to me, and I wanted no part of it. What kind of lawyer is so stupid to put those kind of things in writing? You know, maybe a lawyer that has been referred to the Supreme Court in Florida for no less than, at a minimum, 12 felony charges currently. All right. So she goes on to talk about paint chips, threatening me on Lisa Lee's or FLEASA's live stream, and all of the incriminating evidence there. And she goes on to plead with the court. She says, Jeremy Hales needs this court's help. Nobody is doing anything to protect him. And she also has a recording, which she just released at the time of this recording. She released it the day before, of LIEnette telling her that she was discussing with her grandson Landon getting people to kill me. Now, this is odd considering this is the same grandson that called the Levy County Sheriff on LIEnette, and LIEnette called the Levy County Sheriff on the grandson, and the grandson called me begging for help to save him from LIEnette and Crook.
His own mother called too to have you save him.
Yes. All right. So cross-examination comes now. And Justin's job is to try and really character assassination, to try and make it look like you're not a credible witness, try and frame something into some kind of lie. He is very unsuccessful with Shara. She's like a rock. So he says, and he said this to every witness, including myself and including George. Sometimes I don't ask the best questions. And I will agree with that. He wasn't very good at asking questions. So, and he says, why did LIEnette contact you? She goes, well, she wanted me to do the other side of the story and her side of the story, to tell her side of the story. And so Justin then says, all right, so Justin then says, hey, I've got this flash drive, but I can't show it. Now, what kind of lawyer, what kind of bulldog lawyer shows up with evidence, but he's not ready to show it? And he goes, I don't have a hard copy. Oh, excuse me. Wait, this was the funniest part. You were outside. He goes, I have a hard copy. And the judge goes, well, how are you going to submit evidence without any hard copy? And he goes, I have a hard copy. And then he goes on to, and she goes, well, then give it to Jeremy. Then give it to Shara. And he goes, well, I don't have a hard copy. I was sitting there going, my mom died. My mom didn't die. I was going, oh my goodness. They are multiplying. So he goes, I'll put it on a jump drive and I'll give it to you at the end of the day. It's emails. This guy brings up his entire email inbox on screen, showing everything from Bruce Matskin, from Lisa Lee. Literally, he's getting updates on court cases, and it's public on the screen because he didn't pull it for hard copies for court. And I am mind blown. I am reading the screen, reading every subject of the email, everything from Bruce Matskin, everything from Lisa Lee, which, let's be very clear, we put in a discovery request. Nothing was handed over. And that is not privileged communication from Bruce Matskin or Lisa Lee. Neither, nor Deuce, no FLEASA. And they didn't produce anything. And we're looking at it on a screen. It's literally right there in front of us. These guys are not the brightest people in the world. You have a discovery request motion already in place. You don't submit anything. He does not answer one phone call from our lawyer, one email from our lawyer. Our lawyer thought he was actually going to just not appear. That's what he did last month. And then he puts it up on the big screen. Can't make it up. All right. He says, I'll forward the emails to Eli. Shows an email from Shara to Bruce Matskin. Says, this is a synopsis of an investigation. Now, Shara is very, very clear. This email is what Bruce Matskin forced her under threats to write to retain Scott Stark, who has now passed away. And yet, his estate is still being sued and has been found guilty in Levy County for frivolous lawsuits. And LIEnette is being held responsible for 50% of that, and Scott Stark's estate is being held for 50% of that. And you literally have his widowed wife on threads on her account stating that she's going to be a millionaire this month. Okay, we'll see how long that takes. All right. And Shara sits there and goes, listen, this email was never supposed to be shown. Bruce Matskin told me what to write. He made me write this to actually recruit a lawyer for LIEnette. Everybody should have a lawyer in representation, which I 100% agree. I mean, things went so much better without LIEnette and Crook representing themselves. So much better. So I 100% agree. And he goes on, well, you wrote this, didn't you? And she goes, yeah, well, Bruce Matskin was very aggressive, instructed me what to write. And she goes, and there are a lot of things I refused to do that he wanted me to do. Very unethical things. And he goes on to mention video titles. Well, what about all these video titles? Bad neighbor, getting arrested, this, that. And Shar goes, yeah, you know, like the video where John Cook pulls a gun out on Jeremy Hales. That video? Justin shuts up. He has no idea any of this has happened. He has no idea all of this has already been tried in Ohio. He has no clue. And Shara puts him in his place really, really quick. And Shara then tells him, listen, this is what I learned through the investigation. Jeremy was telling the truth. Jeremy was showing the truth in all of his videos. and Jeremy needs help. So, new email pops up on the screen. Literally on the screen, new emails popping up. Who do you think they're coming from?
Little doozy.
All right. So Justin then brings up, all right, well, you said that you contacted Levy County Sheriff on the record. Interesting that Shara says, it's very interesting you're only using one record, the same record Bruce Maskin has been using in court, and you're neglecting the not couple or handful of other records. We're talking 70, 80, maybe even 100 records right now of everything that has happened. And she goes, why are you only using one? And why is it the same one Bruce Maskin keeps bringing up? She knew exactly what it was. Let's be very clear. Justin didn't do his homework. He is regurgitating what Bruce Maskin told him. He's regurgitating what FLEASA told him, Lisa Lee, who both will be held accountable in federal court for all of this. These two will be enslaved to me and George financially for the rest of their lives, if found guilty, which I have no doubt they will be. And so Shara puts him right in his place. And she goes, listen, if you want me to speak about reports, I need all the reports to investigate a case. Not one report, everything, the totality. Now, keep in mind the totality. That word, where did we learn that word?
Judge Grudge.
Oh, who kept saying the totality when they were being cross-examined in court today?
Butt Chump
Yep.
and McIntyre.
Oh, boy. The totality. The totality. Oh, my goodness. Their interrogation was.
I couldn't believe that this guy's the undersheriff.
All right, we're going to get to it. It was insane. It was insane.
The same guy who's like, do y'all know how to call 911?
All right. So Justin says, well, you've referenced a hitman. Have you reported that? And she said, yes, absolutely. And do you know if it was investigated? She goes, no. They never responded to me. They never contacted me. Nothing. And Justin goes, so you're asking this court to substitute your word versus the sheriff? And Shara goes, no. I'm sharing with you exactly what was said. Now, Justin's trying to frame this as a defense that the sheriff's word is better than Shara's word. Let me guarantee you, once Brett Buttchump and McIntyre got on the stand, it was over for any credibility for the Levy County Sheriff. They were destroyed. But we're going to get to that, okay? Completely and totally destroyed. All right. So Eli then gets to cross. So you've got Eli asking questions. Justin cross-examines. Eli gets to redirect. Then Justin gets to redirect. And they go back and forth a couple times. And Eli says, when did you first get involved? When you first got involved, you believed LIEnette Preston and John CROOK, correct? She says, yes. And when the evidence that you gathered and you found, you found out that Jeremy Hales and George are the victims. She said, yes. And you shared all the information, and now you're scared for Mr. Hales, especially that he's going to be shot in the face like John CROOK said to you. She goes, absolutely. And then she goes, this investigation completely and totally changed my opinion. And Justin goes on and says, so you changed your position because Jeremy Hales threatened to sue you, didn't you? She goes, no, I changed my opinion based on the facts and all of the records and all of the evidence. Now, this gets really funny because the judge then stops everything and goes, LIEnette Preston is not on Zoom anymore. And she goes, you know what? I'm not even dealing with this. This hearing goes forward with her or without her. And Justin's like, okay. So we have a 15-minute recess for a potty break because the next witness is going to be me. And the judge actually asked Eli, how long is your examination of Jeremy Hales going to be? He goes, 45 minutes, and then there's going to be a cross-examination. She goes, we better take a bathroom break. So we do.
So while you come out, I look at you and I'm like, do I have time to use the bathroom? Because I had to pee. But yeah. Didn't you tell me that LIEnette kept moving around the camper in different places?
That's why the judge yelled at her and said, sit down.
She's in the bedroom. You see her putting the phone on the bed. Then she's in another area of the camper, according to what you're telling me. And the judge had to make it clear that her phone has to be idle. She can't be moving around into different rooms, changing it.
Now, I have pages and pages and pages and pages. Now, I do not have pages when I was on the stand, okay? And so this is me right here, that when I was on the stand. So I'm going to have to do this from recollection.
Okay.
So I'm called up to the stand, and Eli asked me questions. And basically, I mean, the gist of it is we filmed for our protection. These people, they stalked us. They created the anti-what-the-hell's ecosystem. They've destroyed our income. They've destroyed our businesses. And they are literally trying to destroy our lives, our relationships. And they're trying to get somebody to kill us.
Mm-hmm. And at this point, recess was taken at 10:20 for about 10 minutes. And then you guys go back into the courtroom.
So that's the gist of, and they're showing me every exhibit. So here's one of FLEASA showing where our vehicles were, which is complete and total contempt of court. And I go, listen, this is one of hundreds. One of hundreds. We'd be here. We'd never get out of this courtroom if we showed every piece of evidence. This is one of hundreds. Mm-hmm. Anyways, we go through all of the evidence. Samples. So here's a sample of FLEASA showing where our vehicle is. Here's a sample of Crook did this and LIEnette did this, and this is what's going on. And threatening to Luthman showing me dead in a casket, and things Bruce did, and things FLEASA did, and things Valmet did. Literally, the interview with LIEnette, Crook, and Valmet up on the big screen with the picture of the magistrate. You should have seen her face. Whoo, not happy.
I would have liked to have seen her face.
Yeah. Everything Valmet has done, everything Paint Chips has done. I mean, it's all going up there. Cross-examination comes up. So you've got Justin, who's going to try and destroy my character and is going to try and
poke holes in your story.
Yeah, poke holes in the story. And the very first thing he starts with is money. Money. You're doing this all for money, aren't you? And I went, and he tries to get into YouTube. I'm new to this. How does YouTube work? How do you get paid? This is how you get paid, right? Based on views. I went, no, that is not how you get paid. You don't get paid based on views. If you got paid based on views, then everybody would get paid. And he goes, well, educate me. And I went, this isn't about a YouTube class on how to make money on YouTube. This is about a civil protection order, and I'm not going to hold a class, and I'm not going to take everybody's time and teach YouTube here today. And he goes on and on about money and money and money and money. I went, no, what's happened is I've lost $1.5 million in income, and I've had to start other businesses because I had more expenses than ever before, and I've had to start businesses to actually supplement the money that I've lost because of the anti-what-the-hell's ecosystem and your client, LIEnette, your client, Crook, which they're going to be held responsible in other courtrooms for relief there. And finally, the judge goes, I don't care if he makes all kinds of money. This isn't about money. This is about civil protection orders. And that's all it's about. And that's all it will be about. So stop the money talk. She puts him in his place. Wow. Done.
I would have loved to have heard her said that.
Done. So he brings up money, so I start bringing up money. And he's like, isn't it true that you're generating income from this? I went, no, it's true that we are losing income from this. But your what the hell's ecosystems, Lisa Lee has stated publicly that she has received over $100,000. And let's talk about who's benefiting from this. LIEnette and Crook are benefiting from this because he starts bringing up the fence. And I was like, yeah. FLEASA said it cost $20,000, but your client said it was paid for $4,500 with gift cards. Oh, talking about things that are paid for to the benefit of LIEnette Preston and John CROOK, you received $6,000. Lisa Lee called you the night before Thanksgiving, interrupting your time with family. Isn't that true? And he goes, that's privileged communication. I went, no, you don't represent Lisa Lee. That is not privileged communication.
He didn't deny it.
So he denies nothing on the record. I make sure it's on the record. I also make sure it's on the record. I said, you remember when we were here last month and you told the magistrate, the judge in this room, that you should have never taken this case. That's still the case. And I got that on the record as well. Doesn't deny it one bit because it all happened. At that point, I admit I was defensive and I was out of line. And the judge literally tells me and Justin, she says it's both of us. She goes, you two are being very argumentative. Needs to stop. And I lean over to the judge and I said, I apologize. This is very stressful. And this is very emotional as we've been damaged in so many different ways, but I will do my best to maintain my composure. And so their defense is, you're making money. No. And I throw it right back into his face and go, no, FLEASA has made money. LIEnette has made money. The only reason why you're here today is because they made money off of my name, wanting fame. So then he goes into evidence. His entire laptop is on the screen. He opens a folder, and it's about 15 to 20 different videos that FLEASA sent him, all titled with germ, germ, germ. And I call him straight out on it. I'm like, oh, yeah, like all of those videos that Lisa Lee sent you after she sent you the $6,000. Doesn't deny it. Judge says nothing. He pulls up the video of Crook in the road telling me to suck his duck, right? Which he has already been found guilty of in Ohio. And I went, why are we rehashing this? He's already been found guilty of this. You are pulling up videos that this court has already stated he is guilty for.
Guess who didn't know that?
Guess who had no clue that everything FLEASA sent him has already been adjudicated on and they've been found guilty. He then closes his laptop of everything FLEASA gave him. And he went, okay.
She's not a credible witness for him to do that. At that point, I think he realized, wow, this woman is, or this shim, whatever it is not a credible witness, and all of this evidence.
He's done.
Yes.
Not
even worth his time to show.
I will state, he's a good lawyer for not knowing what he's doing. He presented himself well. He was very polite, and I gave him a run for his money on the stand. There's no doubt about it. I put it right back into his face, and even Eli stated at lunch, and I apologize to Eli. I said, I got out of line there. And the judge called me out on it. And he goes, you know what? The thing I like about you is you don't back down from a fight. You don't start them, but you don't back down from them. And so he goes, that's what I really appreciate. You won't back down from this when they do this to you. And I went, yeah, I was still out of line. I was like, listen, you're just saying I wasn't out of line because I'm paying you. I was out of line. I know I was out of line. I apologize. And I told George, I was like, you got to do better than me because I didn't do well. And I didn't. It was inappropriate at that point. But
Eli understands the more these people and these freaks continue to poke and poke and poke and poke, the bear is going to strike back.
Oh. And that's what happens. The mama bear. Because next what happens, George is called to the stand.